read for us, we read the fact that Jesus preached peace, and he came to bring peace to everybody. And that was one of the essences, if you wish, of his message. He wanted us, you and me, to be at peace. He wanted our world to be at peace. The gospel kind of shows that. He and the disciples they're hungry and tired, and yet when he sees the people, as St. Mark says, he is moved with pity. And that's said often. If you read the Gospels, you'll find that oftentimes what stimulated Jesus to help people was the fact that he had pity. Next Sunday, and for the following 3 Sundays, we're going to hear of St. John's Gospel. And what we will hear next week, we will hear about the miracle of the loaves and the fishes. That's no surprise, because Jesus always, as you know, treats everybody with dignity and respect. And he had the power to give people a sense of their own importance. Jesus had the power to show them that they were valued and loved. And they came away from their encounter with him feeling that, knowing it. One of the things, and that would happen no matter who they were, big sinners, didn't matter. He always made them feel a sense of their own importance. And that is something, as disciples, that we can do, is make people feel a sense of their own importance. Jesus didn't scold people. Now, you can search the gospel, I'll save you time, you won't find that. You won't find, for example, when they bring him the woman taken in adultery, he doesn't say, "You tramp." No, he doesn't say that. Because this was all men, this girl, and embarrassing, they had to be caught in the very act of adultery. Evidently they were. The women were stoned, the men were punished another way, not taking their life. But what Jesus does, as you remember from that gospel passage, is he bends down in the sand and begins to, they don't know what he was doing, saying something. And he says, cleverly, he says, "Let him who is without sin cast the first stone." And one by one, they begin to withdraw until he's there by himself with this woman. And he says, "Woman, who is there who condemns you?" And what does she say? "No one, Lord." Meaning, I know you don't. He said, "That's right, be on your way." He said, "Just don't do this anymore." That's it, that's it. There was no scolding, there was no, for your penance, say that, no. She was forgiven. The Samaritan woman at the well, he said, asked her about her husband, and she said something about, he said, "Well, you've had 5 guys as your husbands, and the guy you're with now is not your husband. You're just living with him." Did he say to her, "You tramp, what's the matter with you? Can't you settle down?" He doesn't say that. He says, "I will give you the fountain of living water." He doesn't even tell her to leave the husband, or the guy she's with, because that was not what he was about at that time. He was about ingratiating himself to her. They knew that he was a Jew, she was a Samaritan woman. Normally, you weren't supposed to talk to a woman at the well. Wasn't done. And the fact that he does, the fact that he talks to this woman, she even says, "How is it that you a Jew and I'm a Samaritan and you speak with me?" And he says, I've got something for you. It's the well of living water, which I can give to you, and I will. And she goes in and tells everybody in the Samaritan town, "Come out with me and see everybody who knows everything I ever did." And what she could have said, and doesn't condemn me for it, but wishes that I would have a new lease on life and that I would stand anew. There's only one group whom Jesus corrects: the Pharisees. And they won't take it because they're too arrogant. He tries several times, but they won't hear of it. And as a matter of fact, the chief priests, who are Pharisees, are even at that moment plotting to have him killed. Otherwise, as I say, and I just did this the other day just to be on the safe side, I went through all 4 Gospels looking for any place where Jesus condemned anybody. If you're thinking about doing that, save yourself some time, you won't find it. The closest that you'll find to it is where Jesus drives the people out of the temple who are selling animals in the temple. But that was the business of the chief priests, Pharisees, because it made them several dollars. You may have heard me say that people could get animals to offer in the temple on the street for 75% less than they paid in the temple. But the chief priests had the right of inspection. And guess what? If you bought an animal on the street, the chances are that it would not pass inspection. You had to pay 75% more for what they were selling for the same exact thing in the temple. They'd let a few through just to, it wouldn't look so badly for them. And so one group Jesus condemns, but only after he's tried to win them over. Only he has tried, he says in St. Matthew's Gospel. He said, how often I would have taken you under my wings as a mother chicken does to her chicks, but you would not. And so he really recites in sorrow some of the things that they've done. It's a pity. It's a pity because he would have accepted the Pharisees. Some of them he does when he works a miracle. For example, for the man whose little girl, by the time he got there, they were saying, don't bother him anymore, the little girl is dead. And Jesus said to him, to this Pharisee, he said, just believe and all things can happen to you. He gets to the house, and they had professional mourners, if you can imagine that. Somebody would come to your house and mourn and cry for you, and then when away they go, it was finished. But he said, the little girl is not dead, she's sleeping. And they laughed at him. And so he said to the parents, come upstairs with me. James and John were with him. And he took the little girl by the hand and he said, Talitha cum, which means, little girl, I say to you, arise. And then, which I love, and I think it's in St. Mark's Gospel, he said, give her something to eat. Undoubtedly, she's hungry. Now, who would have thought of that? I'm thinking of, if I had done it, was the last thing I'd think about. But Jesus, she's a kid. She was 12 years old. Said, undoubtedly, she's hungry. And they've been fussing over her and saying that she's dead. If you listened or sang the responsorial psalm this morning, it really describes Jesus, because it says he's with us in any dark valley, and he will give us courage to face the various issues that we need to face, which all of us have. He will be there when we're in need, and he is our shepherd, and he will take care of us. And through Jesus, again, the second reading, through Jesus we have access to the Father and access to the Spirit. You and I, received God's life, which we call sanctifying grace. We received that in baptism. I know one of the little girls coming in this morning said she's going to be baptized today. We wish her every good wish and every one of God's blessings. She was excited to tell me she was going to be baptized. And I was excited to hear it, to tell you the truth. In any event, last week I did this, and I'd like to do it again. I invited the people at home. Church is getting fuller. It is. Just like from where we are, you can see it. But I want to encourage the people at home to come. We miss you, and we won't feel right about a lot of things until we can see so many people who say, gee, I haven't been here for a year, and who could blame them? What they were telling us was it was dangerous to come. And so we didn't. And in fact, the dispensation issued by the bishop has not been lifted yet. People can still go online, and they can still fulfill any kind of Sunday obligation they feel. So I want to, as I say, encourage the people at home. We're lonesome for you. We will love to see you here again. We love to see so many who have come. What's the old saying? You're a sight for sore eyes. My eyes are sore, so you're helping them. But God bless all who are here. We're so appreciative of what you've done. I know I speak for Father Rob when I say that our collections have been close to what we need. And so the people, all of you, have been very generous, as you always have been. So let me say that in conclusion, that we invite our people at home, we invite you to come on back. We'll greet you, and I can't tell you that we'll give you a hug. The deacon, see, his wife is here. She did the first 2 readings, so he won't give you a hug. Otherwise, we'll get in trouble with her. But I will. I'm not married. Amen. Amen.